This is
Mm.
Kelly Springer
And
and
Barbara Worsley. Hello.
Barbara Worsley, and we're here with Dragon Elder Song podcast today. And we're so
Yeah,
excited to be here with all of you on this fall equinox, this amazing season of the eclipse and the grand alignments that are happening right now that are definitely being felt. So much energy moving and changing right now. We've been really noticing it, haven't we?
oh yeah, we've been feeling it as well, especially today. It's been like interesting day. Yeah,
Intensity. A lot of
yeah. And I was
intensity.
to say I've noticed that you're wearing full colors.
I am. Um,
Yes.
I'm wearing fall colors today. I was doing water ceremony this morning, and it's such a blessing to be a water pillar in my community. I spend time doing prayers and ceremony and grounding into the love of support around water and the sacredness of what water for us is about is that water has a right to be protected and cared for and seen and known as sacred. So those of us that hold pillars for that in our community actually do ceremonial prayers. Every week we get together and pray for water.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's a wonderful thing. If you go to my Facebook page, I oftentimes post about it, and you can find out more about the timing of it. And people are invited to join us when we're doing
And
these ceremonies and pray with us.
if you're in Oregon, right?
Yeah, I'm in Southern Oregon, and
Oregon. Yeah.
I am in Talent, Oregon, as a matter of fact.
Right.
My
Yeah.
talents are in Talent. So
Right. And all I think of is that you're not far away from weed, because that
Barbara
makes me laugh
loved
every time that there's a
Barbara,
town called weed.
Barbara loved finding out there was a town called Weed next to Shasta.
It
Well,
keeps it
sometimes we
simple,
have to go get some weed
right?
and we go spend
And
some
you know where to go. You know where to go.
time.
Yeah,
Brings a
yeah,
whole
that's going
new
to
meaning
make
to
me.
the word. Sometimes we're just in the weeds and we have to make our way out.
In the we could be in the weeds. Yeah, we could live in weed. Yeah,
You'll
I'm
only
sure
learn
that
the
people
deep.
just come to Oregon just to go there, and or you remember back in the day when people used to send postcards, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's send a postcard from weed.
Well, when I was living in Colorado in Loveland, hundreds of people send their Valentines from there every year
Right,
because it's called the City of Love.
right, yeah, yeah,
So,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so when there's
Mm.
a point of interest,
Well, yeah, people like want to do it. I know what here in the Northeast, like there's a lot of places that people like to send their Christmas cards from. I can't remember them off, but
yeah,
because it's like, yeah, this place called Christmas. And
yeah.
so,
Santa's
yeah.
North Pole, city, town,
Oh,
whatever.
that's, yeah, yeah, I know.
Wow.
It's always something.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
The world is
So,
full of
yeah, so I know that this
mystery.
is an intense time, especially with the um, eclipse corridor
Yeah,
is open, right? Because the eclipse is coming up.
yeah.
And I think that's like pulling a lot of that energy as well.
We just had the
Yeah.
lunar eclipse, and when we have a series of things, alignments in conjunction with the equinox or other things that are lining up,
Right.
sometimes it just feels like the wave of intensity with it is greater. And one of the
Right.
things I was really getting in my journey with the dragons and meditations with them about this time and the energy, especially for New Earth and what's going on in the creation field right now, is that
Right.
it felt like a lot of energy was pulling in and kind of we're all internalizing a bit more. And with that, it's oftentimes coupled with um, for that purpose, we're doing more inner self work in that moment. It's time to kind of
Yeah.
get more introspective. But my sense of it from the dragons was even greater than this. It was that we're kind of going through an earth-centered reset. There's something on on the scale of a big shift and change happening within the creation field. And with that new energy coming in, a lot of shifting energy happening creates that. It creates a kind of like, sort of like this. I'm doing this gelatinous thing with my hands because
Yeah.
it's like there's this kind of like flowing, ebb and flowing energy, but there's a lot of energy shifting and moving right now. And during that movement, there's oftentimes a lot that gets stirred up. But in this case, they were saying the earth is doing a massive reset right now. And that means that on a global level, we're
Mhm.
all resetting with the earth. And so that reset within us, it's like this big time of kind of pulling in. And for some people, feeling like things were kind of shut off or closed off, or I was noticing a lot of channels and things that I normally was experiencing flow from were all quiet. And I talked to a lot of other people who were experiencing the same thing. I don't know if you were noticing that, but there was just like certain things that normally flow to you that suddenly felt like the door was shut and just nothing. And so I was experiencing a lot of that for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. And not so much this time, but the last eclipse. I
Hmm.
mean, the last time the last lunar eclipse,
That's way.
I yeah, it was. I was like, whoa, what's happening? This one, not quite so much, but I can definitely feel the pull of, and as you said, that feeling of wanting to go inside. And we know that here that we're into the autumn, into the
Yep.
fall. And
Yep.
that's all about like, and here we've gone from like, we've talked before about the temperature shift. I mean,
Cold.
we've had a very hot summer and then we're like barely making it out of the 60s. Um, one day it was 80 and the next day it was 63. And it was like, what? That was a quick, like, that
We're
was summer.
falling into fall really fast.
Right. And there were I noticed that there were no leaves had fallen. And then this weekend we had some wind, we had a bit of rain, and it was just like they were raining
Yeah.
down. They just all just gave up.
They were like, we're toast, we're
Like,
dropped.
okay, right, we're done. There's no rain. Like we had no rain. We've really been in a drought here in the Northeast. I mean, the rain we've had didn't really even wet the ground,
Yeah.
and then
We
we
haven't had
had
a lot here either.
fog. Yeah, but then we had like fog and mist and drizzle and yeah. So
Well, yay for
so
the
we'll see.
rain.
That's right. Yeah.
That was
So I
amazing.
know I was going to pull a card
Oh, good.
before we get
Oh, great.
started. So
Do that.
yes,
Let's
from
do
my Oracle deck,
that.
which we've talked about this before. This is my Oracle deck, the Ancient Intergalactic Guardians, Dragons of the Multiverse. So these were, again, talking about dragons. The dragons came to me the end of last year and said, we need you to channel some messages and you can make a deck. And they wanted all of these colors here. You see all these
Oh,
beautiful colors. They
the
were very,
rainbow. Mm.
very prescriptive, is what I said. Got the oranges. They said, we want these particular colors on the back and we want this on the front. And then my friend Tammy Cantrell
Mhm.
I would send her the messages and she would produce the dragons. So
Oh,
I'm told they're very blingy because there's lots of sparkle and stuff on them. So let's see what they've got, what they want to say. Oh, this one just jumped out. This is, the Guardian of the Heart.
ooh,
Open up to love. Oh, and
well,
it's orange.
oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I'll see if now I've disappeared.
Yeah, if you hold it in front of you, it usually will show up.
Oh,
There,
yeah, we
that's the
go.
way to do it. Yep, now we
Yeah,
can see it perfectly.
yeah. So
Beautiful.
the orange, so
Yep.
beautiful. Yeah. So yeah,
Awesome.
I've been getting a lot of messages around love, opening your heart, keeping your heart open, all of that
Yep.
stuff. And as I said before we started, I've also been working with the archangels as well. They've sort of, I would say they've come back. I always feel like sometimes we go around in circles, right? So I started off working with archangels and angels and channeling them. And then the dragons were guiding me back to them because as we know, they work together. I mean, I've had some interesting conversations with them, sort of
Yep.
explaining how we're the same, but we're slightly different frequency. And if you can tap into us, you can tap into
Yeah.
this. So, and they like the fact that it's interchangeable. A lot of the messages are very interchangeable. So yeah, that's a good card for us.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Are you gonna read about it? Or are you gonna
Oh,
just
sure.
you
Yes,
want
I was say the guardian of the heart.
I mean, I'm sitting here
so,
going, oh, are you gonna read it?
oh,
Okay.
right. Yes, so I'm just used to going, oh, that was that. But yes, so let me see where we are. Guardian of the heart.
Well, while you're
That
looking
would
it
be good.
up, I was gonna say, the heart right now too is a part of this calling with the energy of inward for us to think about self-nurturing in particular, or getting nurtured by each other. And I feel like that's a big heavy for some people, because a lot of people are really longing for connection with each other, especially during
Right,
times when the energy is doing what it's doing right now, when
right.
it's intense, when you're going through a lot, and a lot is springing up. If you're going through struggles or any kind of anxiousness, or or,
Mhm.
or any kind
Yeah,
of grief,
yeah.
this time of
So,
needing your
yeah. So
presence.
that's exactly what this says, right? It says the guardian dragon of the heart brings you immense love from your dragon. Your dragon has much to teach you because living here on earth can be a challenge.
Mm,
By choosing to work with the heart dragon, you can expect the following. She will guide you to tap into your heart's desire. She will direct you how to work from your heart, because a lot of us, go into our head, not into our heart, and this will bring you much richer awareness of love. She
mm,
reminds you to give freely from your heart because it will return to you tenfold. So I think that,
mm.
um, so it always reminds me of how, living here on earth, we instead of living in our hearts, we tend, for a lot of people, their heads rule them rather than their hearts. And I know that I've worked really hard to go from my head into my heart and open that up rather than the head ruling. But of course, every now and again, those little voices kick in, right?
The
But I
check
think
goes
it's practice, and I think I've said this to people before that sometimes we talk about things that sound like, oh, well, you just do it. We've been works in progress for many years, which is why we're doing this as well, is because we've got that ancient wisdom, and it takes the years, but now we're embracing that, right, and saying,
That's right.
some of, yeah, exactly.
And
So,
that's right on. It's right. It's all what it's all about. I mean, I think for the path work I've done in my journey, as a healer for 31 years, and working with my tradition, with my ancestors in my
mhm,
Cherokee tribe in particular, they teach a path called the Way, and the Way is the heart. It is about coming into your heart to listen, coming into
mhm,
your heart to see, and
mhm,
coming into your heart to hear and pay attention to your life.
mhm.
And we always think, drop down one foot.
Yes, yes,
Drop
yes.
down one
Mhm,
foot, as our elders have taught us. And Grandma
mhm,
Agnes Baker Pilgrim is part of our community here in the Rogue Valley, for years. When she was still living, she was a great influence in that department. She used to run around saying that to everyone all the time, drop down a foot. And
yeah,
we can still hear her voice in our ears, those of us who
right,
remember her, and we listen to
yes,
that echo, yeah.
right,
But I think
yeah,
it's something we have to work at, and we have to remind ourselves often. And it's easy to find yourself in your head at times. And no matter how much you've practiced, there's always moments when you like have to go
yeah.
back and go, oh,
Oh,
up here, wait a minute.
yes, yeah, right.
And it
Because yeah, we spend too much time up here.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it happens to all of us, and especially in our daily life, the world
mhm,
around us is a huge distraction from this heart. And
right,
especially when you're just trying to take care of your everyday life. And that
Right.
is a demanding thing that we all have to take care of, you know.
Mhm.
Chop wood, carry water. We got to
Yeah.
be doing that first in order to be caring for who we are in this world, the way it's set up. We don't have everything handed to us. We have to make things happen. So it demands a lot of us. And, you know, I think one of the things I love about the dragons for me has been really learning how incredibly supportive they are for inner work, for empowering people and helping us to build confidence. I have found so many times when I'm doing inner journey work with people that once they meet their dragon power within themselves, they have an ally, a spiritual guide who can give them incredible positive information about themselves that makes the inward journey feel so much more secure. And I also noticed that a lot of times we humans have incredible abilities and things that we are good at or knowing about, and our little self inside diminishes it. It's kind of like, oh, you know, I just do this, but it's just like nothing, you know. It's just, you know, I'm nobody with that. It's no big deal. And we diminish ourselves in the gift. And I find that
Yeah.
the dragons actually do the opposite. They go, wow, you're this. And, oh my gosh, you really are good at that. It's like when they came and tell you, you know, you're a messenger and you have things
Right.
to help people. And so the dragons were telling me that a lot. They were like, Kelly, you have so many abilities and you can be helping people and you can be helping yourself, and just believe in that. Believe in who you are. It's so amazing. So the dragons have been so incredible at helping people to recognize the blessing of who they are, and to like encourage them to live from their blessings. It's like you have a
Good.
gift, you have abilities, you have incredible skills, you have this, you have that, and stand into that. And the dragons are like your
Mm.
best cheerleaders.
Yes.
I
Yeah. And
noticed.
they often say, just ask us, right? So if you're like doubting or what is it,
Yeah,
just ask them, and they love to share with you what they know about you. And
yeah, they're
right,
great.
because a lot of times people are like, well, how do I find that out? And I'm like, just ask.
Talk to your dragon. And
Okay.
that's a big thing, you know, the word ask is so important to our communication with all life.
Yeah.
So asking is a key, and
Hmm.
the willingness and the ability to remember to do it is
Right. I
also
was going to say,
vital
yes.
and important, you know. And myself and Barbara are both healers. We both
Mhm.
offer healing work and support. So, one of the things I wanted to share with all of you is a little bit about ourselves as healers. I thought I would share
Mhm.
about myself a little bit, and Barbara can share a little bit about what she does as well with all of you, just to let you know what our services are about. I've been an inner child ancestral healer and inner emotional guide for people to do deep core integration work for 31 years. And I love offering that service to people. I feel highly skilled at doing it. I've been doing it for long enough that I've developed a lot of abilities. And I love being able to go into the ocean of people's emotional body and be the navigator that can support them to find the keys that they are looking for, to find treasure. To me, treasure is the light in yourself, the healing that you're needing, the resolve you're looking for, the ability to find your gifts and even understand more about what your purpose in life is and why you're here. And in my work, that purpose understanding comes from your integration process. That when you really get fully in the foundation of you, landed and whole, your inner counsel can really become a vital key, and being able to directly tell you from your own soul of knowing what you're here for and what your life path is really about. And most of us are seeking to know that. Like, you know, I mean, I know I, in my own personal life journey, was throughout my young late 20s and early 30s, I was super hungry to know and understand, why am I here? You know, what am I all about? I mean, it's got to be more than to eat, sleep, and poo. You know, come on. Although, I also was raised by parents that taught me to appreciate all walks of life, so it's like my parents were very accepting and loving about whatever our paths were. They weren't pushing us to be any one thing. So if you were a good ditch digger, they would just be like, you're just doing it. If you want to be a nurse or a doctor, great. If you want to be, a soldier, fire out, whatever your path and whatever your calling was, they would get behind you and support you. So I had loving parents. I was very fortunate. And I know for a lot of us trying to find our way and our purpose and our, path, it's like, it's a big, what am I supposed to be doing? So I think a lot of us are hungry to know ourselves. And I believe that when we partner with a healer or support person, we have an ally that's in the human world that can, be in the journey with you. And so when I do deep core work, I really am a partner and an ally as a guide and support for the people I'm working with. And I just find that that's been very invaluable to people healing. It's really made a huge difference in their lives. And they've been able to have personal breakthroughs and experiences that they couldn't get to on their own. It's just like you wouldn't do your own surgery. Well, you don't go in to do your deepest core, most vulnerable healing alone, especially if you've had any kind of trauma in your life. It's really important to have support for that because there are mechanisms. And in my experience, those mechanisms shut you off, shut you down, and don't let you get to the part of yourself that's hiding because it's scared, hurt, and overly hurt. So when we have the deep work to do, it's amazing to find the right navigator or support to work with to do deep core work. And it's a specialty. Not everybody goes deep. A lot of people work at different levels, and the deeper work is some of the most intense work for healing ourselves that we'll ever do in our lifetime. I know that was true for me, and that's been true for many, many, many of my clients. So, and I love being of service that way. So, if that's something that resonates or calls to you, our contact information is here on our page on our YouTube channel, and our websites and our emails are there. So feel free to reach out to us
Yeah,
and reach out to
yeah,
me.
yeah. And I think, my journey's been completely different because I'm a registered nurse, and when I was back in England, I didn't even recognize that being somebody who put hands on people was healing. And I've told this story a few times, but I actually had a client one weekend who I used to go when my colleague was off for the weekend. I used to go into this particular client, and she was paralyzed mainly from multiple sclerosis. And this is back in the day before we could even give any really good treatment. And she started talking about how she was a healer and her hands were really, really hot. And she was like, does somewhere hurt? Can I touch you? And I was like, I wasn't too sure about that. And she actually said to me, you're a healer. And the reason you're a healer is you chose to work with people and put your hands on them. And while you're touching people, they're healing. And I sort of I must have tucked that away somewhere and forgot about it. And once we moved here to the United States, I started finding different modalities, I suppose. And my first one was Reiki. And I was actually taking, I was doing skincare. I can't remember what I was doing, but one of our teachers was a Reiki master. I had no idea what it was. And when somebody said, so and so is a Reiki master and she's doing a class this weekend, I'm like, I'm coming. I need to do that. I don't know what it is, but I need to do it. And that was sort of my first path. And then I've been on this journey of I've been different places. So I did practice as a Reiki practitioner. I also did polarity therapy, which is sort of similar to Reiki, but it's more meridians and a little bit more formal was the way I saw it. And then I realized that I had this, when I was doing hands-on healing, it was a combination that I didn't really know where it was coming from. It was coming from higher up. But when I put my hands on and touched people where they needed it, it worked. And I didn't even ask questions. And I continued doing that. And then life happened, is what I always say. And I landed up divorced with teenage boys, and I needed to bring money in and put a roof over our head and all that. And I stepped away from it. And a few years ago, I was called back to, like, what should I? And I had people asking me, well, you used to do this and you used to do that. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I think I'll go on a journey. And I allowed spirit or whoever to take me on. It was like going down a water. Somebody said it was like I was on one of those lazy rivers. And I just went wherever I was taken. So I did some, finding out, reconnecting, learning some new things, going over here. And during that time was when the dragons like stepped in and said, hey, do you know about us? And everything changed. Is all I can say. It was like, dragons? Wow, what am I? And I also learned that I was a channel, which I hadn't ever said the words. It was somebody pointed out that because I was doing all this beautiful writing, that I was channeling. And the minute I said that, oh, so I'm a channel. Again, I started channeling dragons. Now it just feels like they're there talking to you. I mean, you know this, but I always feel I don't have to do anything special. They just suddenly butt in and they say, hey, do you remember this? Or do that. And they've been a great comfort. They've actually been very gentle and guiding me. I have many collectives. I don't necessarily, some people have their own dragons. I have lots of dragons that talk to me whenever. My main, not my dragon, but Merlin has always been with me for 30 plus years. And he pops up every now and again, and Merlin the dragon does. So now I found myself back on that path of, so what am I going to do with all of these things I have? And I have been doing not so much of the hands-on, but certainly virtual Reiki sessions, healing. I've been given some gifts. Actually, working with you opened me up to some other gifts, which I have found, especially people that talk about their trauma, that I can often visualize what they're talking about. I actually see and can see it from a different point of view. And I found myself just really connecting with the people that need whatever it is that is mine to give them. But I've also stepped back into the Reiki field, and I just told you this, but in October I will get my Reiki master teachers certification as a Dragon Empowerment Reiki. So I'm not sure. I think next year I'll be talking more about doing some teaching and bringing more people into the Dragon Empowerment Reiki, because I think that's what the dragons, they told me earlier this year when it was going to happen. And I was like, hang on, it's getting the years happening here, because my Reiki master had to get it organized. But by the end of this year, they told me by the end of this year. So I sort of they've become part of my life, I guess, the dragons. And they've just they appear and they say, hey, you're doing the right thing. When I ask them, when I done my Oracle deck, I do readings from those if people want them. And actually, Dina and I are doing a joint effort on Wednesday. We're doing, Dina's doing her dragon art and doing readings from them. And I'm doing Oracle decks. We're not quite sure, whatever comes up. But we're doing that for a small group of people. So more of that's going to come. And it's interesting how you connect with different people to do different things. So
where can people find out about that?
Actually, it is on Facebook. It's on my Facebook page. And it's actually on my website, I believe. But it's on several platforms on Facebook.
So if any of you are feeling like you want to check that out, go to Barbara's website and go to her Facebook page, and you'll find out about that offering for this week. That sounds like fun.
Wednesday the 5th. Yeah, I think we've got 2 more slots left, but I'm sure we're going to do it again.
I'm with you in how the dragons inspire us to do things. When they started calling me out to do teaching work, it was actually, I had this experience last year. It was real strong, just like you, the way they come and they tell you things. I had this incredible moment with Divine Sophia, the Divine Mother, and she came in and she was like, Kelly, I want to teach a class with you in celestial dragons. And I was like, wow, okay. So a year ago, I started teaching the Temples of Light Dragon Journey. And this is the most powerful course I've ever taught. Uh,
Mhm.
it is hands down the deepest journey work, taking people into recognizing and discovering the origins of themselves in
Mhm.
the origin temples of light. And the process is deep and amazing. And because it stirs us so deeply, a lot of times things kick up in that process.
Mhm.
So, because I'm an integration specialist, Sophia said, Kelly, this is perfect for you to do this work with me, and people will help them if you couple this with inner healing. So, I created this course with her so that we go on these journeys once a week. But in between the courses, I offer one on one sessions. And in fact, I have a course starting in October. So,
Mhm.
at the beginning of October, it's on my website, lovewisdompower.com. And it's called Temples of Light Dragon Journey 111. And it's a 7 week course that takes us through the the connection to our dragons. It brings us into the inner earth. And I take people into understanding that the three different aspects of the divine earth herself as Gaia. There's three different hearts that you're taken in to meet with Sophia and I and the dragons in this journey. And then we go from the inner earth into springboarding up into all of these amazing origin temples of the earth itself. And then we journey above the earth and out into the solar system and into the expanded universe from there. And over that 7 week period, people come into greater confidence, awareness, ascension of light and understanding more and more and more. It builds. By the end of it, people are into a stage of recognizing their self as an empowered being, so much more so that they become more collaborators with the source within themselves. And this key of creating with ourselves is a very powerful part of what we're coming into in the sovereignty of the new earth, to be a sovereign self, completely sourced. When we
Mhm.
know that the energy of self to source is ignited within us, we can begin to utilize it in some amazing ways. And
Mhm.
in fact, Barbara went through this course with me and she loved it so much she became my assistant. So Barbara is one of my assistants in the course that we take. And then after you graduate from the first course, I offer a continuation course. That course leads to initiation at the source to self level of bringing people into potential enlightenment and being able to go fully into an activation of self to source embodiment where you're really holding that connection of knowing and certainty. And when you come into the place of being certain about your self to source connection, your gifts bloom and
Mhm.
so many things start to happen. And in fact, one of the things that I will reflect off of that about my witnessing with Barbara that was really powerful was after her first journey in the first 7 week course, she was doing a session in her Reiki session with someone, and all of a sudden the dragons were like, well, you don't need to do it that way. Just be like a laser and like
Yeah,
talk
that's
about that
right.
a bit.
Yes. Yeah. So it was, well, first of all, it was, I think you know when you're ready.
Mhm.
And when Kelly said she was going to be doing, so we met after the first Dragon Thunder, and then you put out your first come and let me talk about dragons, which I
Mhm.
came to. And then you talked about that class. So my very first journey, I came out of that first one saying to Kelly, I
Mhm.
don't really know quite what happened, but I've been told I'm an elder. And you said, yes. I said, and an ancient. I'm an ancient elder. And you said, welcome, sister. And I
Mhm.
was like, wow. That, and it was, and I can't even remember the journey, but I remember how powerful it was. But then, as you said, so then I was doing a distance Reiki session and called in the dragons. And any of you that do Reiki, you sort of start and you clear. And then I got to the chakras and I was like, okay, I'll go in there. And they literally appeared and they were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm clearing out the chakras. And they were like, no, look, we can help you do this much more efficiently. They moved me to one side and they went, so, and what they did was oh, that's right, I remember what it was. So what they did to me that day was they literally, this energy came from the past all the way up through my feet, out the top of my head, into the future, and then back again. And they did that like 3 times. And they said, there you go, the chakras are clear. And I was like, wow. And they were like, that's all you need to do, it's intention. I'm like, okay. So they left me alone again. And then I got to the aura and they were like, okay, we've got to step in again. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm clearing the aura. And they were like, look, just do this. You
Mhm.
go with intention and
Yep.
it's clear. Do you look at it? Look, it's nice and clear. And I'm like, awesome. So at the end of the session,
Fast.
person that I was doing the work on, I didn't know at the time, but she was actually a Reiki master. So when she came back, I said, so how was that? And she said, what was that? And I said, well, the dragons stepped in. They sort of took over. And she goes, wow, that was amazing.
And
So,
what they were teaching you was physics. And
yes,
there's a physics term we use, I mean, there's labels that we put on things, but so much of it is purity and light.
right,
And the pure light of God source coming through you is
right,
what that is. But we call it 0 point. I have another friend I met from Sweden. Chani West, she calls it white time healing. Other people have called it things, matrix energetics. I mean, people
right,
make names for what this actual spiritual
right.
gift
Yeah.
of knowing and truth is. And so it's all the same thing, but it's source. And
So,
when we're
well,
sourcing,
yeah, and it activate what the work that I did or that journey we went on activated that part of the ancient part of me that was waking up and remembering. And I went, oh, and they were like, well, you've always done this.
and
Like,
then the thing about remembering that, oh, I've always done this, it is remembering. So in
yeah,
the journey of this course, what so many people are experiencing is exactly what you're sharing here. And it's so fun to share it. Thank you for sharing that because
yes,
it's
yeah,
amazing to try and talk about this experience, but to be able to share someone's experience is even better. So
I agree.
because
Yeah.
it's really potent and incredibly eye-opening and awakening to
Mm-hmm.
discover yourself again and
It
again.
is.
Every
Yeah.
single class that we do does that. And you've
Yeah.
been you're you've been through the entire course with me, and then you decided to be my assistant in the next course that I taught.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just teaching right now our second group
Second.
going through
Yeah.
the continuation course right
Um,
now.
yeah.
And as my assistant, I think you, because of that position you're in, you've gotten to witness how the course has been different each time we've taught it.
Mm.
And
Yes.
one of the things
Yeah.
beautiful about that was that the Divine Mother said, the people who come to the course are going to influence the journey in terms of where we're,
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
taking. And so when different people come together, we wind up going to different temples.
Yeah.
So you're getting to learn even more
Yeah.
by being in both courses. And I've
Yeah.
realized that people could take this course again and again,
Yes.
and it would change every time.
Yeah.
And it
Well,
would get richer and richer.
yeah.
So,
Well, so it feels a bit like an apprenticeship by
yeah.
actually doing it. But what I've noticed for myself, having done 111 and 222, and then coming in to work with you, and also so with my channeling, I always get they usually at the beginning of each of those classes, I've been given a message, and I don't know what Kelly's going to teach. I don't know anything, and every time the message that I get is what Kelly is going to teach, but it's sort of in a channeled, like And this time they were recognized as I remember what they said now, where they were gods and goddesses. And
Mhm.
so the message I got was welcome, gods and goddesses. So we have a male in this group. But for me, the experience has intensified as
Mhm.
I've been part of those classes. And I think the big one for me was not this last time, but the time before, where I went into, I can't even remember where we went, but I got taken to meet my father, or my father appeared in that meditation. And I have not, he has been gone like 45 years. I've had messages from him, but I've never sat next to him. And I shared this with my brother the other day. Now, my brother really doesn't like, oh, yeah. And he said, I really wished I could have done that. That is so awesome that you sat and spoke to him. And I could, he was there. I could smell the smell I remembered. And he used to wear these cotton shirts, and it was a hot day. And it was that smell of the cotton and just him. I smelt him. And we just had this beautiful conversation. But I was a child. I saw myself as a child in him. And he always explained things scientifically, and he was like talking about scientific stuff. And afterwards it sort of left me with this, like, that was so, like, I don't know where I'd have got that from, but I felt really blessed to
Mhm.
have that experience of sitting with my dad after 45 years. I mean, to him it was like the next day, but that was just so amazing. And I've realized that as it gets richer and richer as we take the journeys. And you're right, we've gone on. I said this, we sort of did one where we sort of went this way, and then there was one class where we went straight up. And there were a couple of times that I got taken way up really fast. So
Uh,
I've had lots of interesting journeys, but the one that I had just a
that
couple
was
of weeks ago,
that was when we were with seven women, remember?
yes, there's 7 women. But I think that's
That's
it's,
significant.
other times we've been with extraterrestrials, or we've been with, we know there are people there, we're not sure who they are. I mean, there's just so many interesting parts of it, or going in the water when we go in. But I think this time that we've gone into the decompression chamber,
Yes.
which was really helpful, because otherwise we were all ending up like,
Yeah. Well, one of the things that happens in doing journey work, like what we're talking about, is we're bending time and
right,
we're going into temples and we're moving through time and space very rapidly. And it has a pull, a certain on the body and the energy of the self. So I wanted to find a solution for time traveling and moving through space as much as we were doing because it was so accelerated. And so, and the work that we were doing too is with people who have been are usually really, the people who get called to this course are usually people who've been practicing meditation. They understand journey work. They're ready to go. They're lit up and they're on fire to go to this next level of understanding themselves in the light and to journey with the divine and to becoming more embodied in that connection. So the most beautiful thing is that I haven't had anybody who can't journey. It's been so
right,
beautiful that
that's
that's been
true.
that
Yeah.
way. And then the other
Mhm.
thing was going into places with the galactic centers in the universe to be
Yeah.
able to assist us in adjusting our bodies and being ready for this journey work because it's
right,
extremely deep and expansive and amazing and accelerated. But the
right.
moment we found that chamber that I was able to bring us to, we had this amazing amount of calm and smoothness to
Yes.
the movements and the transitions in the journey work. So you get really protected and taken care of when the light and the teams of light with dragons and celestial beings and the amazing gift of understanding your own dragon connection and your elemental powers. And also, we are working with angels, fairies, devas, nature spirits, animal spirits, you know,
Dragonflies,
beautiful
dragonflies.
beings, unicorns.
Yeah.
We've had all these amazing lions and eagles and incredible spiritual beings that have been coming together and working with different aspects of creation in this universe, and then also finding our way through the changes that are happening, because the way in which we talk about new earth sometimes really puts us focused on the earth, the earth, the earth, but the newness of what's going on in the earth is directly associated with the newness in this universe. So it's a whole universe of transition and expansion that's taking place for us on a galactic scale that is partnered with this pull of the divine calling us up and calling us up into goddess and goddess creation bodies to actually be partnered with this time, this moment on earth when we are at a great time to learn how to be active in the creation field. And we are actually active partners in that divine intention. And
Mhm.
we come together, we create strongholds in the light. And
Right.
strongholding in the light together creates an opportunity for incredible change, a monumental like love bombing. And you were even at one point this last week talking about seeing it as tsunamis, and I was like, "Ooh,
Well,
tsunamis,
that's right.
destruction,"
Yes.
and I was like,
It was,
"I love
uh,
tsunamis, love
yes.
tsunamis."
No, but, and I kept saying, no, they
Oh,
told me it
it's
was this
tsunamis.
tsunami. It's
And
this
I do
tsunami.
think you're right because there's a lot that's breaking down.
Right.
Remember, disintegration for integration. When things disintegrate, things fall apart. When you go through dark nights of the soul, that's when you do your deepest light work with your light. And, in our world that is driven by dualism, in this dualistic framework of having shadow and light and subconscious, unconscious, unconscious, superconscious, all these levels and layers of the self are at play together. It's the yin yang. And this
Mhm.
energy of balancing all of that, our male and female aspects of the self, and understanding how to come into our empowerment with all that that means and is and reflects to us, has an incredible journey to getting there. And it's so complex, but at the same time, some of the most potent, amazing breakthroughs happen in the simplest things.
Right.
And so it's these incredible, incredible journeys. And so I'm loving the work, and I'm seeing into the next step for it is going to be also doing a continuation education program like a Journey Academy practice that I'm going to be launching in the new year. So I'm getting ready to be offering that every month ongoingly with the students and the people who are graduating and being certified in this journey work of coming into your creation power and your light. Say,
Yeah.
I'm initiated and ready. And
Yeah.
those of us who are then able to take that information and then come together get to go into doing co-creation projects. And I think that's going to birth a lot of things for people in the future, not just the people doing this work, but those of us who are involved with this process with the earth right now. A lot of us are doing the work we're doing to bring people into higher states of existence and consciousness within themselves in order to activate, to build the new systems, the new programs, the new ways in which we're going to be living on the earth together. And there is an opportunity like beyond words for a need for so much change in our world.
Mhm.
We have a lot to do. One of the things I like to remind people of is that, I people get into thinking about the illusions that are here. Life is an illusion, so much is just illusion. And people were starting to say in some of our dragon groups, well, it's all illusion. We don't need to heal anymore. And I was like, oh gosh, don't say that. Because I want to, the first thing I was saying was, remember, like at Dragon Thunder, I was like going, wait, okay, I don't care what you want to call it, but don't stop changing because
Right.
we really have a lot of things to change on this earth. I mean, we have a number of vital things going on the planet that are on a global scale. If you look at humanity as a whole, that we need to resolve as a human species, on a species level. We are looking to come to some new levels of taking care of our humanity. And it's vital that we do. I mean, housing, feeding ourselves, clothing ourselves. These are basic things that when a species reaches a point where it can demonstrate care, it's actually reached a certain plateau of evolution that marks itself as evolved. And until you don't, until you get to demonstrating care, you're not seen on some level as being evolved yet. So it's like we
Mhm.
have a huge leap to take as a human family here. And
Mhm.
it's going to take all of us working together to make that happen and to find the pathways to creating that together. And so much of us know that we need to come into greater peace, greater harmony, greater respect, greater love for each other. And
Mhm.
these classes actually are helping people to see into ways to do that. And
Yeah.
the united energy is going to take that to another level altogether. When you put a group of people who are ready as visionaries, as conscious, plugged in, whole beings, ready to create, what happens when they come together will be something we have never seen. And the
Yeah.
never seen part is not to say, oh, it's so beyond you. It's not that. It's that it's beyond us. What we're capable of doing that has taken us to another understanding of what life could be like if we did this. And that human potential is wide open. It is the most open field we're playing in on this playground. And it's a exciting time to be able to
Yeah.
be doing creation work.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. So I haven't even kept track of time because we've just gone.
It's okay. I hope you all are
Okay.
enjoying this.
I'm sure. Yes, I know. I'm just thinking that, but I think because we could like talk forever
What we do
about this,
wrap
but
up.
but I would say that it is life changing because when I did after one of our my first journeys, I actually got time travel sickness. So I
Terrible.
get travel sickness, but I literally got taken really. I mean, at warp speed. They told me they took me into the future, and actually, I went off. We were told not to like go away from the group, and I got sucked up they needed to take me there, but I went really fast into the future and then brought back really fast. And the next day, I couldn't like get my bearings. And that was when you went in and did some work. And every time Kelly would say, oh, we'll just go here. Oh, wait. Oh, well, that's cleared. So I know that to come to this work, you've got to have done a lot of work yourself. And what I found Kelly did for me was that I brought it to a certain level and I just needed that, like, I know I'm hearing like the icing on the cake. I just needed that last,
Yeah.
oh, you're here. Oh, well, that's it now. Okay. And I got clear and so much cleared. And then the dragons were also working around my heart because I needed to do a lot of that. And that's when earlier, when you were talking about the heart work, I remember I heard them saying that you can hear with your heart, you see with your heart, you think with your heart. Like it just is, and everything opens up. And when that happens, that's when you're able to do more. But I think so. Remember, for me, it was all about just going back and remembering, like even before Earth, what I was before when I was out in the galaxies and in the stars. It's just amazing. And we've seen that in all of the people that have come through the class so far. So
It's pretty
it's yeah,
it's phenomenal.
it is.
To
It is.
witness.
And I don't think any of us knew when we came. None of us came with I didn't come with expectations.
Well, and I didn't either. When
No.
Sophia asked me to guide the class with her, um, it was just a yes. And so I
Yeah.
said yes.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things I do recognize that has been partnered with my own journey with her with this class was being able to understand the things that we're going into. Like when we go into a temple, a lot of times I know the beings and I can tell you about them and I can understand where we are and what we're doing and what we're talking to. And I'm even able to navigate through multiple dimensions, multi species, all kinds of consciousness in this universe and in the multiverse and to the
Mhm.
all the way to the source. So I had incredible reach. And I started realizing I could go anywhere. And for me, that was really a time of ownership in my own sovereign self connection as a deeply divine being, ancient and sourced being. So when we
Right.
go into being yes in our sourceness to the point of knowing that the divine can take us anywhere, anytime, any place, and we have the ability to reach in and remember and know it, it's because we know a thing when we've been there before. So I started to discover I've been everywhere and I've been all things. And I'm so connected to my oneness with the divine and being partnered with source that I could get to my own self in that source. So it's a beautiful experience to be able to work with Divine Mother as a daughter of Sophia, as a
Mhm.
Sophia myself, and
Yeah.
recognizing that in our selfness as God, Goddess, creator bodies, a lot of us are going lightning speed into that right now. And
Yeah.
it's happening to many, many people. Some people, this is happening because you come into a course with me and Barbara. Or some of you, it might be happening because you're stepping into the right path for yourself and
Mhm.
grand awakening and alignments, the pulses coming in and the energy waves coming in with new earth and creation medicine right now on the earth is feeding right into your purpose path and awakening
Mhm.
purpose happens like lightning. And so a lot of times people are going into boom, new awareness, higher expanded stuff, and they want to understand what's just happened to me. So I also have people who come to me trying to like understand their expandedness. And so I also assist with that. And so the course is starting October 5th for the next journey, and it goes 7 weeks. It's going to be on Saturdays. It's on my website, lovewisdompower.com. Feel free to go check it out. If it's calling to you and you have questions, you can email me or call me or reach out and we'll find a way
Mhm.
to discuss it and talk about it. And and I also will work out payment arrangements for people if they feel like the cost of the course is steep for them. Ask if you want to have a way to make payments and you can do it over time. I like to have people who are meant to be there. I trust that the light will gather us and that all the right people will come together for the journey.
Right.
And spirit's in charge, of our hearts.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. And so I know, you were going to do something at the end to
yeah,
wrap up. So,
I'm
yeah.
willing to give us a little experience right now. I think it would be fun. And I love working with sound and song. And I find that the resonant chamber of the heart is what we are talking about. Let's invite our heart and our soul of knowing. And let's do a little practice right now. And I'm finding that this little gift I'm going to share with all of you is really powerful. So I'll use my song bowl here. I'll use this one. It's handy. So before I put this into action here, I want to share with you a little intention for this little process. So I'd like to invite all of you to drop into that place of your heart and think about visualizing eyes and ears on it. It's a really good idea. And think about seeing your heart in that place of listening and seeing, activating your heart chakra with that intention. And then we're going to reach up to a higher body of light. In this moment, I'm going to invite you to call in with your own connection from self to source, reach up to one of your higher dimensional bodies. The eighth dimension, all the way up to the 12th, are the highest dimensions in this universe. Outside of the edge of the 12, there are three realms: the 13th, 14th, and 15th. So you can go up even higher, but I recommend working with from the 8th to 12th bodies and calling down a light from one of those higher bodies to yourself and inviting it down like a visualized column of light coming into your heart. When you visualize that light landing into your heart, see it like a little sun beginning to spin and take shape and fill up your energetic heart with light, a much greater, purer light. As that pure light begins to grow, invite your breath and the expansion of it to go into a matched energy with your breath, every breath expanding it a little more, a little more. And as it's blooming, asking that light to push out everything that is not like itself. And it'll instantly clear your field. You can clear your physical, mental, and emotional body this way. As the energy pushes out and you feel a ring around you of light, call in the angels and your dragon helpers and guardians in the light and the source to clear the periphery, to address whatever's hanging out there. Invite it to be removed or addressed, dealt with. And then I want you to summon your dragon to yourself. So here, I'm going to invite you to take a moment. When you summon your dragon, you invite your dragon to come up from behind you and then to come around either on your right or left side to gently show itself to you. We do this way so that your dragon energy, if it happens to be large, it doesn't overwhelm you. So as you summon your dragon, inviting it to come around to meet you, you can allow yourself to just say hi and invite that clear field of light you're in to be this moment of contact for you and your dragon energy to meet. Notice its color, look at its eyes. Know that your dragon's color tells you its elemental power. There are things we can teach you about that. And we talk about that in our courses and classes and one-on-one work. Looking into the eyes of your dragon tells you where it started as an element with you. Maybe if it's blue, those are water dragons. So saying hi to your dragon's energy and inviting you and your dragon to just go into a communion right now. And I'm going to do a little dragon song for all of you here for just a minute. All right, let's begin. So thank your dragon, your messengers, your guardians, the spirit of the light that showed up in this moment to speak to your heart and give you messages. Take that love and use this practice whenever you want to clear your field and help yourself to source your center and your heart. And I hope that feels good to all of you.
Yeah. So thank you, Kelly. That was a beautiful ending. Thank you. And
Lovely.
we'll be back next month.
Yes.
Yes.
Be back next month, maybe with a guest.
Yes, we keep saying that. So we'll have that conversation.
Be a guest or us. But we look
Yeah,
forward to seeing you all again. And
yeah,
so happy you were here with
yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Love.
And don't forget to like us and
Oh,
subscribe.
like and subscribe our podcast. Thank
Yeah,
you so much. And look up our information, our offerings. We look forward to being of service in any way that we can for you, and love and blessings as you're going through these now times of spin, expansion, light, challenge, growth, healing, whatever it is for you right now.
yeah.
Bye.
Bye.